Unitarian Universalist congregation in Loveland, Colorado. My name is Laurel Liefert, and I serve as the minister of this generous, warm, justice-loving congregation. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. We are obviously still Zooming our services on Sunday, though we sure do hope there's a light at the end of the tunnel and some of us will begin meeting again in person. But in the meantime, our Zoomer today, who is Chad Escalier, Zooming from Sheridan, Wyoming, will be keeping all of you muted unless it's your turn to speak. And we are recording this service. So I would like to invite any newcomers, Tracy Jones, for example, to say hello. If we have any visitors, it's good to be able to see your face. And so everyone, if you could please put your Zoomer on speaker view. And Tracy, I'm putting you on the spot, but why don't you just say hi? And then we'll recognize you when you come in, I hope, to our sanctuary one of these months. So you want to unmute?
Hi, everybody.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Tracy lives in Longmont and might be moving to Loveland one of these days. So as I said, I hope you like us and you want to come back. And I wonder if there are any other visitors here today. And if so, could you please maybe type your name into the chat box and I'll call on you. I know we have Melody here from the Insight Skills Center. And so you'll hear from Melody a little bit later when we do our offering. So you can say hello too. Unmute and say hi.
Hello, everybody. And I wasn't going to because I know you'll hear my 3 minutes in a little while and I didn't want to take up too much time, but it's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Well, thanks for coming. Anybody else? Okay, well, now let us get an update on our pledge drive. Oh, I see Dave is visiting us again. Hi, Dave. We are in the middle of our annual budget drive. Pledges is really our primary, if only, source of income to keep our lights on and our staff and everything else that comes with being a congregation. And so first, let me call on Donna Leonard, who will be giving our pledge testimonial this Sunday. So Donna, if you can unmute and tell us why it is that you pledge. I don't see you. So Bill, is Donna here?
I just got here myself and I looked for Donna and I didn't see her.
Well, why don't we turn to you and you can give us an update on where we stand. So Bill Rosequist and Mickey McGuire are our co-chairs this year. So how are we doing? I guess we're about 3 or 4 weeks into it.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well, actually. We're past the halfway point. And so right now we're about 60% toward our monetary goal. And we've had a 27% response rate to the pledge drive, which I'm hoping will pick up here in the future since we're going to be pretty much ending the pledge drive on March 21st or thereabouts, although I'm sure we will continue picking up pledges towards the end of the month, but we do have a set time frame for this. So we're doing well, and we're very encouraged that a lot of people are using the link for submitting their pledges. That's very good, the electronic link. So keep that up. And so we're on our way. You know, I think the rest of it's going to be a little bit of tough sledding, as they say, towards the end. But hopefully everybody will step up and go ahead and contribute. So I've been thinking about, luckily I prepared a few words. I did send a message to Donna. I hope there's nothing wrong there. So I ask you this, who are we? Where did we come from? And where are we going? So these are timeless questions that we ask not only as our democracy is under attack, but also from forces outside, but also these are questions that we ask ourselves and our religion every day as we explore the meaning of Unitarian Universalism. And it is through Unitarian Universalism that we see how other generations of our deeply historic past have dealt with these and other issues that shaped who we have become. Last week, I made reference to PBS Pledge Drive. And so this is listener supported, but I can't offer you the Bee Gees DVD of One Night Only, one of their best concerts from Las Vegas. Can't offer that, but we can offer you other things. This is a fascinating journey with an amazing legacy that is and always has been rooted in the search for equality and justice and free and unfettered thinking. This is a ride you don't want to miss. Make sure you are on board. So pledge today, as they say, and thank you for your pledge from your pledge team and your congregation too. So, and I do have that copy of the Bee Gees, One Night Only, and if you contact me, I will loan it to you. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Oh, yeah. You know, my dream has always been that we would have 100% pledging. So I put that out there as a wish. And, you know, even if it's $1 a month, you would be participating in helping sustain our congregation and the work that we do. So please, if you haven't pledged already, please consider doing so. And maybe, Bill, if Donna shows up, you could type into the chat box and we'll slip her in.
Okay,
So I
sounds
would
good.
like now, I think that you know that we've had a wonderful surge of new members. And so today I would like to invite some of our new members to speak and introduce themselves to the congregation. And so Judd Brown is one of our new members. I don't know if he's here today, but he is joined and he is married to Donna Brown, who's just a remarkable pianist, and also was a student of Jean Decker, who is one of our esteemed elders in our congregation. So one of these Sundays, Judd will say hello. And then let me invite Arthur Goldsype to speak on behalf of you and Mel. So if you want to unmute, and everyone on speaker view will be able to meet Arthur. He's been super active in our social justice ministry.
Hi, good morning. So I'm Arthur Goldsype. My pronouns are he, him. And I'm also going to speak today on behalf of my wife, Mel Goldsype, whose pronouns are she, her, and who is not a morning person. So I grew up in East Tennessee near the Smoky Mountains, and Mel grew up in New York and then moved to Tennessee. We met in college. And then we moved to Massachusetts so I could go to grad school at MIT. I started working at a company called MathWorks as a software developer in computational biology. We first started attending a UU church shortly after moving to Massachusetts. It was a great way to meet like-minded people. We both loved the community that strive to honor all faiths and emphasize social justice. While we were there, we taught religious education to kindergartners, and we also worked with the Welcoming Congregation Committee. Mel worked as a book editor at the MIT Press before transitioning to volunteer work, first at the Massachusetts Transgender Political Coalition, then within our town's Human Rights Commission, and finally establishing and chairing the LGBTQIA+ Rainbow Commission in our town. We moved to beautiful Loveland about 1 year ago to be closer to family. I continue to work remotely for MathWorks. Mel has started serving on the executive committee of Kids Pack, which provides supplemental weekend meals to food insecure students in the Thompson School District. We both serve on the NUUC Social Justice Ministry. Mel is heading up the group organizing the Namakwa's Pride Celebration this year, and she also runs monthly Zoom hangouts for the Loveland LGBTQIA+ meetup group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how you both just jumped right in. So we are very lucky to have you and very happy to welcome you. So can you see people are commenting on your shirt and your cat, Mel? All right, so welcome to you. And now let me call on Catherine Stacy. So go ahead and mute Arthur. Oh, you already did. And then Catherine, if you can unmute and say hello.
Hi, that was a really hard act to follow. I'm not sure about this, but so I'm Catherine, and I'm just thrilled to be connected to the congregation. I'm a people mom. I have 2 daughters, adult daughters that live close by. Also a doggy mom. Max is right next to me. I have 2 dogs, and my husband of 30 plus years, and I just celebrated our 27th, or no, 36th first date anniversary yesterday.
Oh.
So yeah, we went to see The Breakfast Club when it came out to the theaters in 1985. That was our first date. So we were talking about Bee Gees and The Breakfast Club, and yeah.
You had
You want to see Max?
yes,
Okay,
2
here's
requests to see Max.
There's
Hello,
Max.
Max.
And then Zorro's under the printer over there. And I had some tech issues this morning. I typically join from my desktop, and my mouse gave out. So now I'm on my phone
Oh,
today. But I had the good fortune of visiting Namakwa a couple years ago before the pandemic, and fell in love with the church immediately. It reminded me of where I grew up in Carrier, Oklahoma, which is a teeny tiny little town where I attended a UCC church, the 3rd generation of that little UCC church in Carrier, Oklahoma. And I feel like I'm coming full circle, and just so thrilled to be a part of your community, and look forward to meeting everyone and continuing my faith journey with Namakwa.
well, thank you, Catherine. And Catherine is one of the newcomers who's taking our starting point class. So I've really loved getting to know you better. All right. And so that is our 12th new member just in this last couple of weeks. So that is just so affirming because of the fact that we're in the middle of COVID, and some people haven't even stepped foot inside our church yet. So that will be coming. So welcome, Catherine, and welcome to all of you. And now, drum roll, I have a very important introduction, which is that, as I think most or all of you know, we are in the process of launching our very first intern. And so first, I would like to introduce the internship committee. And so internship committee, if you want to unmute, and as I call your name, why don't you just say hello? Hello. So first, our co-chairs, we've got Mickey McGuire.
Hello, everybody.
Ooh, nice background. And the other co-chair is Rebecca Williamson.
Hello.
All right. So thank you again for the 2 of you stepping forward to be co-chair of the committee. And then also Carol Barton.
Good morning.
Hi, Carol. Carol's there with her husband, Dick Barton, who's our treasurer. And Linda Bell.
Hi.
There's Linda. Brenda Christensen.
Hello.
Mother of Eve with an A. And Chad Escalier, who's our Zoomer.
Good morning from Sheridan, Wyoming.
And he is also one of our worship associates. And finally, Kathy Hartman.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. The internship committee will begin meeting monthly with our intern and also be providing him with some support. There are 2 evaluations, one at the end of his first year and then the other at the very end of his internship, that become part of his permanent record. And so now I would like to introduce our intern. So this is Claire Hamor. And we have been so delighted to be able to have him come and join us. He'll start his internship officially on May 1st, and he will be with Namakwa all the way through June of 2023. So this will be a part-time ministry. You'll hear much, much more about it. And so Claire, why don't you unmute and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Good morning, y'all. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity as I've had to start to meet folks at committee meetings and leadership team. and everybody there. So Laurel asked me a few things that you need to know about me. So I wrote down five things that you need to know, 5 categories. One is I'm an INFJ, if you're a Myers-Briggs person. I'm a Libra. I'm a 2-wing 3 on the Enneagram, and I'm blue on the True Colors personality quiz we just took. So there's a lot of information. But really about me, I'm at my heart a theater maker. I love magic and play and being in community with people. I did my master's and doctorate in educational and applied theater work. So I'm coming in with that experience, getting to direct and make theater professionally in New York. And I have a real passion for doing theater with folks who are incarcerated. And so I'm really lucky to have been able to do that. And I think this video says a lot better than what I can. So I'm just sharing a little documentary that was made about a production of Christmas Carol I did in Denver last year. So there's a link to that in the chat. That's kind of fun. Just 10 minutes. You could zoom through it. I'm a ritual maker. I am very passionate about ministry and ritual and holding sacred space with people. I'm a homemaker. I love cooking and entertaining and spending time around a table for long hours with people. And finally, I'm a playmaker. I love joy and play and delight and curiosity. And that's just a little bit about me and the passion for being alive and for UU ministry that I'm bringing today. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know you all so much more.
Yes. So we are just so thrilled to have you, Claire. There's just been good chemistry right from the very first moment, and a lot of synchronicities, which I always take as a very good sign. So Claire and I will start meeting weekly in May, and I'm super looking forward to your playful side. I think you'll be a good match for Namakwa because we also love to play. So warmest welcome and thanks, Claire. Okay, so by chance, Bill, did Donna come?
No, not only that, but my computer just shut down a minute ago, completely wiping out my screen and everything. I don't know what happened. So I've jumped on my cell phone. I don't know if you can even hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you and we can see you.
Okay, well, nothing like a little backup, but that was just crazy mysterious. It's like some force came over the house and shut off my computer.
Oh man, well, I'm glad you were able to join us again.
Yeah,
So
I haven't seen Donna though.
Okay, well, why don't you go ahead and mute and we will officially start our service. Today it's Doug Stewart, our worship associate, and me. And so Doug, if you want to read the chalice lighting words, and I'll light our chalice.
Thank you, Laurel. O spinner, weaver of our lives, your loom is love. May we who are gathered here be empowered by that love to weave new patterns of truth and justice into a web of life that is strong, beautiful, and everlasting. Come, let us worship together. And now, if you will, please join me in saying the congregational affirmation. Keep yourselves on mute, but you can say the words at home. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And our opening song is Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from pray for thousands. You can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us, filling the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
All right, everyone, just sit back and relax as we take a few moments to get centered and to fully arrive in this place, in this time with these people. So first, take a deep breath through your nose and then let it out slowly. Just breathe deeply a few times. Give your body some oxygen. And then just go ahead and return to your normal pattern of breathing. And I'm going to offer you some words and then invite you into a moment of silence with the bell. First, acknowledging our ancestors. This comes from a book that is absolutely wonderful. It's called My Grandmother's Hands by a Black trauma therapist named Resmaa Menakem. An estimated 18 million Native people were custodians of the North American continent when European colonists arrived. They and their ancestors had lived here for an estimated 14,000 years. Today, this same land contains over 204 million white Americans, over 46 million Black Americans, and just over 5 million Native Americans. May we honor and respect and acknowledge the people who were stewards of this land long before folks from Africa and Europe made it their home. And now some words from the UU Minister Victoria Safford. Douglas Sear, a Quaker teacher, says that the ancient question, what am I, inevitably leads to a deeper one, whose am I? Because there is no identity outside of relationships. You can't be a person by yourself. And to ask, whose am I, is to extend the questions far beyond the little self-absorbed self and wonder, who needs you? Who loves you? To whom are you accountable? To whom do you answer? Whose life is altered by your choices? With whose life, whose lives is your own bound up inextricably in obvious or invisible ways? And I invite you to ponder those questions in silence. Amen. Joys and Sorrows is a sacred time in Namaqua's Sunday services. It's how we weave our tapestry of community that we call love by sharing personal joys and sorrows in our lives. And what I will do is transfer one of these glass pebbles into this sky blue bowl to represent each of the joys and sorrows that you'll share. And I'd like to begin by saying that I would like to celebrate Glenda Bell, whose birthday is March 1st. She would have been 83 tomorrow, but she just died a few weeks ago. I met with her family and some close friends of hers on Friday, and we have chosen April 11th as the memorial service to celebrate Glenda's life. So I'll send out a notice about that, but save the date. It will be the afternoon on a Sunday, April 11th at 2 p.m. So happy birthday, Glenda, wherever you are. And now if others of you would like to briefly share, put your name in the chat box. I see Kathy, you've raised your hand, but I'll call on you if you put your name in the chat box because I can't see all of your hands. So Kathy Hartman, unmute.
I would just like you all to keep my brother and his family in your thoughts. They are really struggling with the loss of son, brother, uncle, cousin, my dear nephew. So just keep that family in your thoughts. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Kathy. So thoughts for Jonathan's family who's grieving. And Janet Gillette.
Yeah, I have a couple of joys. My surgeon has released me. I'm free to move about the cabin. So I'm officially well. I'm not really, but I'm officially well. So that's great. And the other joy is that next Saturday, I will see my younger daughter and her kids, including my baby's grandbaby, Maya Michelle McKinney, the soon-to-be Broadway star, is coming home from on spring break. So I get to see her next Saturday, and I'm just so excited.
Okay. Well, enjoy seeing her. And I remember meeting her when she was much younger.
Yes, I still have the duck that she's decorated for you with. She made a little Laurel Liefert duck for the.
I remember that. Oh, such an honor. All right, and Francie.
I'm excited for our sons, Marcus and David, who made an offer on a house in Oakland and it was accepted. So the search is off. They're going to settle in a really nice neighborhood in Oakland. And I'm excited that we're going to get to go see it next week.
Yes. So congratulations to Marcus and David and Marcus's son, our only grandson, Henry. And calling on Karen Massaro.
I have a joy. This comes off on Wednesday.
All right.
And hopefully it's going to take me a few more weeks to recover from the carpal tunnel. And today would have been my parents' 73rd wedding anniversary. So I'm celebrating that today. So this is good news for me rather than a sadness. So I'm really happy about that. Thanks.
Oh, that's great, Karen. And Mim Neal. You want to unmute?
I'm trying.
Can't hear you.
All right, now I can talk.
Okay, we hear you.
Okay, right now, my 20-year and 3-month-old cat is sitting on the sun in the windowsill, but we had a terrible scare this last week. Somehow he sprained his back, and I thought I was going to lose him, but I didn't. So he's old and carrying on, and I'm old and carrying on. And it's a lot easier when Herbie, my cat, is around. So yay.
So here's for Herbie and Mim, still together after all these years. And Jennifer Buckmeyer.
Yeah, I just have a couple of joys and a sorrow. So Peter and I went to Hawaii. We had a lovely time in Hawaii. And right when I came back, I experienced a retinal detachment and tear. So then I needed surgery, but I'm healing well. So there's the up end of it.
All right. Well, welcome back from Hawaii, and I'm glad your eye is okay. And Mickey shares that his 95-year-old mother was discharged from the hospital last Tuesday. He spent a couple of days with her and is happy to say now that she's doing much better and still living on her own at age 95. Pretty amazing. Okay. And Susan Moody.
Yes, you may not remember, but back in, I think October, I wanted your prayers and blessings to go towards a firefighter in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where I raised my sons. I knew him as a little tot under the bleachers. You know, he was running around like crazy. His name's Randy Blake. He had a double lung transplant, and his legs were really impaired, but he walked. I have a video of him walking out of the hospital, and I'm so happy. And for all of you that sent out your prayers and blessings, I greatly appreciate it. He's a really good man. Thank you. This is a blessing for me, yes.
Yes. It's kind of a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name was on my altar. And Angela, is that really you or Liz?
It's me,
Hi.
but Liz can hear, so don't talk about her.
Okay.
Brad, within the next month, Brad's going to be coming back home, and I find this to be a blessing and a joy because I feel like it'll improve his mental health. Like, we'll see, you know, a month after he lives with us, how all of our mental health is doing. But I just really feel like he's kind of out there. And I see my friend Karen is on the call. Shout out to Karen, because when he was nearly homeless, Karen reached out and attempted to help us. But anyway, he's coming back home. Joy number 2, Ashley is moving careers, and she had to pass a math aptitude test, which she passed. She's looking into going into being a union electrician. So this is a great opportunity for her. And so we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. But she did pass the first, you know, and women in the trades is to her advantage. So now she's got to interview and move forward from there. And of course, she studied technical theater in college. So we're hopeful there. Liz and I, joy number 3, Liz and I closed on her home. And I hear what you're talking about, your son just getting the offer accepted. It is really tough. So, you know, so we closed, we got all the way, and now we're just in the process of starting things there and shutting things at our old place. So, all right, joy number 4.
Oh, no. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I got 6. All right, joy number 4. Ash, Brad, and Josh are coming out. This is a short one. Josh is Ashley's partner. And so they're going to be coming out spring break, and we didn't get to see them during Christmas. So that's a joy. Okay, right. Joy number 5. This is a big one.
Okay.
I am going to be part of a Gay Straight Alliance task force working with high school students, developing and presenting equity PD to our staff. And so I might be calling on some of you to help me think through some of those things, because this is a big step in my mind, and Liz is celebrating because she knows that this is, you know, it's an evolutionary process, if you will.
Yeah.
You're coming out. And yeah, I'm coming out, but I'm coming out further. Right. So anyway, so, and then number 6 is Liz is going back to school. She's getting the hell out of the house and going back to her school. She's been vaccinated twice. And so I think we both see this as a celebration, and she can get back to a more normal situation with her kiddos who are needier than most. So, all right, that's it. I'm done.
Wow, Angela, well, this bowl is getting so heavy now with all your joys. Wow. And I want to celebrate Mr. and Mrs. Brown, Judd Brown, who I mentioned earlier, and then Donna, his wife, who's the extraordinary pianist, just celebrated their first anniversary, and they had a great mountain getaway. So happy anniversary to Donna and Judd. And let's see. Karen, did you want to speak again? You have a joy? Okay. And Tig, I will call you. And Nicole says hi to Herbie, to Mim's cat. And Susan, we're all glad that Herbie's doing well. And Renee Poole.
Hi, I have two joys. One, sort of a joy for me, for her. My baby turned 50 day before yesterday. So, but she's celebrating. She's the one in Scotland that is going through a wicked divorce, and but she's coming out and she's feeling better, and life is going better for her. And the other joy was we got to see one of our granddaughters last weekend. It's the first family we've seen in over a year.
Mm-hmm.
So the youngest granddaughter came. John got a new computer and he gave his old one to her, and she spent 2 hours with us learning how to use it, and we got to see her, and it was really, even got a hug. So it was really nice.
Yes, I predict there are more hugs in our future. And
I hope so.
Yeah. So I'm going to put in another few to represent the joys and sorrows that may be too tender to speak out loud, and also for those of in our community who weren't able to be here today. And as always, I don't know if you can see, but lit behind me on my altar where the chalice is lit are also two candles that represent the joys and sorrows in the world. And if you'll please repeat after me, in our joy and in our sorrow, we are not alone. Truly, we are not alone. Thank you. And so now, Doug Stewart, I invite you to present your reflection on UU Principles, the Next Generation.
I woke up to a cold winter morning. It had snowed overnight, though the sky was dawning clear now. The walks needed shoveling, so I bundled up, put on my boots, and stepped outside. Into a winter wonderland. Snow on the pines, and cold enough that hoarfrost decorated the bare deciduous branches with crystals that sparkled in the sun. I stood there, taking it all in, my breath blowing a cloud of condensation. This too was alight with the early morning sunshine, little sparkles as it froze in midair. The snow crunched when I shifted my feet, but all else was silent, covered in its blanket of white. It was a moment. I was in love with life. Let's always remember this love of life is possible, the experience life can bring to simply being alive. One could live their life for such moments. Love can be found in present moments, and love can also call to us, drawing us toward higher aspirations, the way we want to be, the way we want the world to be, like calling us to treat ourselves and every other person with worth and dignity. A present side and a calling side. Side with Love is the new edition of the Standing on the Side of Love t-shirt that I've proudly worn for many years, especially in support of the LGBTQ plus marriage movement. Not all people can stand, some folks had pointed out. So with typical Unitarian Universalist sensitivity to the way we frame messages, we revised our slogan and our t-shirt. All of us can take sides. We side with love. When I first discovered Unitarian Universalism almost 35 years ago, we member congregations had just agreed upon a new version of our principles and sources. I was proud when I first read our principles. I found I could affirm each one, and even better, I was now part of a community that mutually affirmed them. But now it's been over 30 years since the principles were last updated, back in the 1980s. Since then, different people and groups have considered adjusting the wording or extending them, for instance, to add an 8th principle around anti-racism and anti-oppression. Interestingly enough, the bylaws of the Unitarian Universalist Association, kind of our parent organization, the UUA for short, the bylaws require a regular review of our agreed upon principles. Ours is not a static faith. We are anything but stock in a dogma. The UUA board created a commission to study our principles, and at last summer's General Assembly, this commission outlined a process for taking feedback, which includes taking feedback from congregations like ours. And this was a topic of GA last summer. Listen to our 7 current principles, which I love, and which were last updated in 1987, and see if you notice a word that's missing. The inherent worth and dignity of every person. Justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. The goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And finally, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Did you notice any word that is missing? Love, which is odd since love is so central to us, the core of everything our movement upholds. We side with love. But I'll admit, love is a tricky word, and maybe that's why it wasn't listed there. What other denomination doesn't claim love as central to their beliefs? How is our UU sense of love different and even unique? Yet, as difficult as this difference might be to articulate, perhaps it is time to reclaim the expansive, diverse sense of UU love explicitly among our principles. The UUA board seems to agree. They gave that study commission on the principles this charge, and I invite you to notice where the board placed its emphasis. So I quote, "We therefore charge this commission to root its work in love as a principal guide in its work, attending particularly to the ways that we and our root traditions have understood and articulated love, and how we have acted out of love." Chad and I will lead a service in March in which we explore the values behind our UU principles, love among them. Within a few months, I'll send out a workshop invite to anyone interested so we can explore our giving feedback to the UUA Study Commission on our principles and sources. Perhaps, rather than revise our UU principles and sources, we could add a new category, that of UU values. We could start that naming of UU values with love. A love that calls us to make a diverse world better and more equitable. a love that calls us to experience each moment in the here and now as a gift like sunshine on a crisp winter morning.
Thank you, Doug. And now for our offering, we have a special guest. Melody is a development director with the Insight Skills Center, which is our half plate recipient for this quarter. And so welcome and thank you, Melody, for coming. And would you please tell us a little bit about what it is that the Insight Skills Center provides?
It would be my honor. Again, thank you so much for having us and for supporting Insight in any way. We have been serving the community. We have a satellite office in Fort Collins that we have been at for 20 years. We are a low vision rehabilitation center. So we serve people who are visually impaired through many different services. It was how I got the opportunity to meet Francie all of those years ago. And it's interesting, you never know why you meet people and what journey you'll go on with them. So it's great to connect after all these years. And our main goal, our mission is to provide individuals with vision loss the services and resources that they need to be independent and to be productive in their living. We want to make sure that everybody who needs services gets services. So we have a lot of really different funding opportunities. We work with a lot of different counties. We serve the entire state. And I know that we are not headquartered in Loveland, but majority of us actually do live here in Loveland. This is our home community. My mother and our CEO, Denny Moyer, live just up the road from your guys' church, actual church. We've been here for many years. Love this community, and we do work extensively in the area to provide outreach and education. We actually work with Dr. Corey Bernhardt, if anybody knows Dr. Corey and the Bernhardts, because they're such an outstanding family in this city. Very, very business-minded people. We have been working with Dr. Corey, who now has a facility out on 4th Street by Loveland Ale Works. He has been our main optometrist, our low vision specialist for the last 6 years. So a lot of Loveland connections. But again, we do serve the entire state. And I keep saying that because if you guys know anybody, whether it's in Loveland, whether it's in Fort Collins, whether it's our new friend Tracy that we met here living in Longmont, there are services available. And it's really important for people to understand that as they're dealing with vision loss and all of the things that can come around with that there are people there who can help to guide them, to provide them with those services and resources. They're not in this alone. And where there's a will, as you know, there's a way to provide and to help people. So we're so honored that you guys have thought of us. And I was really hoping that Diane Hunt would be on the call today because she is a wonderful supporter of ours. She's a great volunteer. She's a good friend. And it's an honor to know her. So thank you very much for everything you guys are doing for the community.
Wow, thank you, Melody. And yeah, Diane is a member of Namakwa. Okay, so while we are donating, Chad, our Zoomer, just posted in the chat box our giving link. In addition to online, you're always welcome to send checks to the church. And so now let's enjoy a song called Circle Round for Freedom.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole.
And please repeat after me. We dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings, to the vision of this congregation, which is to radiate love, peace, and justice as we work together to build a beloved community. Thank you. I think we're going to run a little long today, so I hope that you'll stick with us. This is my last Sunday before a sabbatical, so I'm glad to see so many of you here today, and also meeting Claire and our new members and our pledge drive. So I am a well-educated, tall, white, 70-year-old, cisgender lesbian. And I go by the pronouns she, her, and hers. Cisgender means that my gender identity as female matches the sex that was assigned to me at birth. I am temporarily able-bodied. I grew up Presbyterian in a middle-class family with heterosexual parents who loved me and my 3 younger siblings. And since 1990, my chosen faith has been Unitarian Universalism. For the past 30 years, ever since I started going to a UU church, I've been on a journey toward wholeness. It's a long journey, a spiritual journey, opening my eyes to the profound, pervasive harm caused by racism and oppression, by people who divide the world into us and them. And the journey has given rise to what I would call spiritually driven action for justice. I admit it is not a comfortable journey, but it's a necessary one to heal the brokenness in our nation, in our faith communities, and in our individual hearts. I have been and continue to be waking up to many heartbreaking truths that I never learned in school. I would like to invite you into a kind of virtual exercise. And don't worry, it's not going to be a strenuous exercise, so you can just stay in your seats and use your imagination. Imagine that we don't have to stay 6 feet apart and that we are all lined up shoulder to shoulder. And I'm going to read a series of statements that will instruct each of you to take imaginary steps forward or back if the statement describes your life experience or identity. So here we go. If you are able-bodied, take 1 step forward. If you do or have shopped with food stamps, take 1 step backward. If you are or appear male, take 2 steps forward. If you have a visible or invisible disability, take 1 step back. If you have traveled abroad, take 2 steps forward. If you are a person of color, take 2 steps back. If you are or were loved by your parents, take 2 steps forward. If you are transgender, gender nonconforming, or gender queer, take 2 steps back. If you were raised by a single parent, take 1 step back. If your skin is white, take 3 steps forward. If you are considered medically overweight or obese, take 2 steps back. If you have been a victim of violence or abuse, take 2 steps back. If your parents paid your car insurance at some point, take one step forward. So you get the idea. This exercise is known as the dance of privilege. And the questions are drawn from a curriculum called Beloved Conversations that was created by Mark Hicks of Meadville Lombard Theological School. And several years ago, 8 of us from Namaqua participated in Beloved Conversations, and we did this exercise in our social hall, Parker Hall. And maybe when we're meeting again in person, we can do this dance of privilege. And it would be interesting to see where we each end up in relationship to the original line. Perhaps a few of us far ahead, perhaps some of us far behind. But I think that most of us are privileged in some identities and places, and perhaps marginalized in others. So I wanted to just go through some examples of some of the important work that we have done here at Namaqua. Our work isn't done, but we are truly committed to widening our circle of concern, to be truly inclusive, to walk our talk. So for example, we've offered multiple workshops and classes on dismantling white privilege, anti-racism, and anti-oppression. And this includes some book discussion groups. We looked at The New Jim Crow, White Fragility, How to Be an Anti-Racist, and a new book discussion group will be starting soon. And so contact Doug Stewart if you're interested. Some of you may remember that on the day of Trump's inauguration, many of us went to the Women's March in Denver wearing pink hats. And a few years ago, Namaqua did the work to be designated an LGBTQI+ welcoming congregation. So every year, as Arthur mentioned, and Mel is helping us have a Pride celebration in June. We have coming out services in October, a vigil on the Transgender Day of Remembrance in November. We've had 2 Stonewall Seders and participated in the Side of Love services on the steps of the Capitol in Denver. One year, we even hired a bus to take a group of us down. Both Doug and I are involved with Together Colorado, which is a faith-based community organization. And the mission is to place human dignity at the center of public life in Colorado. And Namaqua has been working the last few years with 2 other local churches on the issue of homelessness in Loveland. With the support of some of you, and Namaqua as its fiscal sponsor, Francie Liefert, created the Immigrant Freedom Fund to bond out immigrants detained in the ICE prison, the Geo Detention Center in Aurora. And as part of our series of General Assembly takeaways, including this one, we recently had a service that offered a glimpse of the Indigenous experience and another on marginalized people. Last June, after the murder of George Floyd, some of us went to a vigil. It was a protest that was at Lake Loveland, and Chad is showing you a picture of it. I remember standing next to our mayor, Jackie Marsh. So I'm proud to say that our denomination is fiercely committed to dismantling systems of white supremacy, starting with our own institution and congregations. So talk about walking our talk. So the UUA charge to the Commission on Institutional Change is to conduct an audit of the power structures and analyze systemic racism and white supremacy culture within the Unitarian Universalist Association. There is so much to say about this journey and about where we're going as the denomination. Doug and I will present another service in May to delve deeper into what I think is a bold, courageous goal of institutional change. And I know that among other opportunities to engage and learn, we will continue to have Sunday services like this about white privilege and Black Lives Matter to further explore the often unacknowledged assumption that white is normal, that white ways are normal ways, There's an essay called Confessing My Complicity by the white teacher, author, and activist Parker Palmer. And he writes that in a nation grounded in the enslavement of Black people, only white people get support for the illusion that their ways are normal. We don't need a White History Month to celebrate our contributions to civilization. We don't need to encourage each other that white is beautiful. We don't need to proclaim that white lives matter. He says that in America, where white people have ruled supreme from day one, all that comes our way free of charge. So yes, we have done and will continue to do important work. Obviously, there's much more work to be done, but we also know that lasting change will require more than book discussion groups and Sunday services and protesting. And what I also know is that it can be really overwhelming. But I want to end with offering you a story that might help. It's by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. He's the Colombian novelist who wrote 100 Years of Solitude and Love in the Time of Cholera. Somewhere in a time like our own, a father is pensively trying to solve the world's problems when his little boy comes in and says, "Father, I want to help." And the weary father appreciates the gesture, but he only feels that the child's presence will be a hindrance. But the boy persists. So the father takes a map of the world and rips it into little pieces, and then gives all the pieces to the boy and says, "I know you like puzzles. You can help by piecing the world back together." And the boy says, "But Father, I don't even know what the world looks like." And his father laughs and said, "Well, this is still how you can help." And he sends him off. He was expecting that this would engage his son for days. And so the pensive man turns back to his weary reflections about how to solve the world's problems. And then 2 days later, the son comes bounding in, shouting, "Father, Father, I've put the world back together." And sure enough, all the torn pieces are now pasted into a beautiful whole. And his father is stunned. "How did you do this?" And the boy is eager to show him. And what he does is he turns the map over and he says, "On the back of the world was a picture of a person, Father. I put the person back together, and then I turned it over and the world was back together." I read this story in a book by Mark Nepo called The Exquisite Risk. And Nepo points out that this simple story carries the profound wisdom that when we put ourselves back together, we put the world back together. That each of our journeys is a torn piece of the living puzzle that is the world. And each time we take the exquisite risk toward being whole, toward living in the open and recognizing and affirming that we are at heart each other, we will put the world back together. Each of our struggles matter, and we need each other to turn the story of our lives over to see how beautifully they go together. And so the message is that we begin with ourselves. We start where we are, engaging in the deep and faithful work that allows for growth and change. And we widen our circle of concern, little by little, person by person, knowing that we are all part of that living puzzle that is our world, connected in the interdependent web, what Dr. King called the network of mutuality, which means that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So let's draw the circle wide and wider still, side by side, to do our part in putting the world back together. May this be our song, and may this be so. So please now enjoy our closing song called Draw the Circle Wide.
Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle wide.
Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide.
In your sadness and in your grief, from all the pain, it seems there's no relief. We will hold you until the storm subsides, and draw the circle wide.
Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle
Yes, so I think we'll need to share a link. Chad, I don't know if you know that the sound dropped out. There we go. And as people were saying very empathically and accurately, we had a little experience of what it's like to be lip reading with people who are, along with people who are hearing impaired. So the wabi-sabi that Rebecca typed in refers to one of our mottos, which wabi-sabi is a Japanese aesthetic term which refers to the beauty of imperfection. So often when things are imperfect, someone will shout out or type out wabi-sabi. All right, so I do love that song. And now, Doug, if you'll read the words, I'll extinguish our chalice.
The chalice is extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and the hearts and the souls of each one of us. Let us carry the flame with us and share it with people we know, with those we love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet.
And for our benediction, imagine us once again in our sanctuary, some of you joining us for the first time. And we'll sing a song that is the UU principles put in language that even a child can understand. And sometimes when people ask me what Unitarian Universalism is, I'll say these words. It's a blessing you were born, and it matters what you do with your wild and precious life. What each of us knows about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty we love be what we do, and we don't have to do it alone. We draw the circle wider still, side by side. We don't have to do it alone. So a few announcements before we join each other in breakout rooms and have some conversation. On Friday, when Margot sent out the written announcements and the announcement of today's service, there was an announcement for a forum that will be tomorrow night on the very topic that Doug and I are addressing today, which is widening the circle of concern. So it will be 6:30 to 8:30 or 8 Mountain, or so Mountain time, it would be 7:30 to 9. But there is a registration link that was in the email that was sent out. Also, yesterday, the elected leaders and staff of our congregation got together for a summit, and we are committed to having hybrid services. Even once we go back into our building and are physically together again, we'll still have an option of having a virtual service. So we've got the beginnings of a task force. If any of you are willing and able to join the task force to figure out what equipment we need, what kind of training we need in order to make this possible, contact our chair of the Committee on Shared Ministry, Sarah Suriani. I've mentioned my sabbatical. Somebody asked me the other day, I didn't know ministers got sabbaticals. Well, you ministers, the tradition is that we earn 1 month for each year that we serve. So this is my 10th year, meaning I would be entitled to 10 months. And I have not been that good about that. I've had now a total of 3 months and 3 weeks. And so starting tomorrow, I'm going to take a 2-month sabbatical and return on May 1st with our intern, Claire. The exception to that is that I will be conducting the service on April 11th for Glenda Bell. But you're in good hands. We have a backup pastoral care. The worship associates have all the worship lined up for the next couple of months of Sundays. And we have just a splendid group of leaders in our shared ministry here at Namakwa. And so next Sunday's upcoming service is on our new Soul Matters theme of commitment. And so Susan Moody and Janet Gillette have a service called the Bridge to Commitment.
And Laurel, there's one other announcement.
What's that?
And that is that we'd like to send you off.
Oh.
On your 2-month sabbatical, which starts tomorrow, with our blessings and best wishes. And we wish you rest, recreation, and restoration. And we sure look forward to your coming back at the beginning of May.
Well, thank you, Doug. That's very sweet. The 3 R's. I'll do my best. Okay, so now Chad will give us an opportunity to join other people for a virtual coffee hour. Obviously, you can unmute to talk with other people. And what we'll do is have 7 or 7.5 minutes in one breakout room, and then he'll call us all back and then send us into another breakout room, which gives more opportunities to see more people. So take care, everyone, and I will see you on May 1st.
Cool.
I joined one, but then I got kicked out of it. Hi, Susan. I lost your phone number. What is it?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
970-98, yeah, 988 5026.
Thanks. We just got that in.
Okay, your place looks nice. You're in Santa Fe now?
Oh, thanks. I have all my parents' furniture here. Yeah, I'm in Santa Fe.
Well, I have my mother's dining room set at it's too big though. I'm gonna have to get rid of it.
I just got rid of the chairs and kept the table. And I got different chairs, like little metal with birds on them.
Okay, that's cute.
From Craigslist.
Okay.
Craigslist. You don't have to get rid of the table. Table's a good thing. You can sell. I sold 2 chairs separately from the others, the king and queen chair. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure that these people don't want to hear about our furniture.
I guess that's why they left. I don't. Well, this is the first time I've done it where they have 2 sessions, and
I just got here.
Oh, who is that?
Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. I can't see you, but that's okay.
No, I don't have a camera. It's a gaming laptop, so it doesn't come with a camera. You have to get one separately.
Okay. Nicole, do you know Atulia?
I don't think we've been introduced, but nice to meet you.
Hi,
Atulia.
Nicole.
Yes. Nicole
she's been here before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Been here a long time before I was, I think, possibly.
I've seen her. I've seen her pictures.
And Atulia came from India. She lived in India a long time.
Yeah.
And, we have a connection because my brother is a monk in India.
Yeah.
They're Kashi. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. One of these days he'll come and then everybody will, if we're in the church, will go, oh, you're that guy. Very shy, and he'll probably.
What will he be dressed like?
Oh, he dresses American when he comes, but he usually wears a kurta and
what color?
White.
Or just white?
Yeah, white, and sometimes, yeah. He does though, like wear pants and a kurta that's a different color. He has different when he's, just out. He doesn't wear a kurta all the time, but in the monastery he does. So he's a modern monk, I guess.
Right. He's adjusting to the rest of his life.
Well, yeah, and part of it was when my mom wasn't real thrilled he went to India. And so when he came home, he tried to look as American as possible. And he was her favorite. You know how you're in a family? He was the baby Jesus of our family. And
Were you the black sheep?
And
Were you
I'm
the black sheep?
I'm the one who didn't, I was a Democrat from the womb, and my parents were Republican. And my brother just kept his mouth shut. He knew what to do.
That's a very similar dynamic to my family. My brother just went along to get along.
Yeah.
Well, Chris just waited till he got out of the house, and then he went, joined the movement, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's movement and moved to India. And my mother then decided to call me and ask me why he'd done that. And I said, why don't you call him and ask him why he did it? Because I can only guess, and he's happy there, Mom.
And she'd just be mad at you about it instead of him.
Oh yeah, she drove me nuts about it. And finally, I just said, Mom, you talk to him.
Also, Maharishi Yoga. Okay.
Yeah, that's who it was, the TM guru.
Right.
Well, my
Lots
brother-
of people I know from that.
Yeah.
My brother became much like my mother. I don't think I don't know how Republican he is, because he's liberal about socialist issues, thank God. But and I became a pagan priestess from a Catholic mom, which is not actually uncommon.
That's not that far as the goddess, you know, because Catholic is a lot of Mary.
Yes, but we're not supposed to be worshiping her, nor are we supposed to be worshiping the saint.
They
We
told
pray
you
to
about
them.
it, huh? They told you what you're doing
pray
wrong.
to them. We pray to them to intercede between
Mhm.
us and God. We don't pray for. We pray for that to them, for them to pray for us to God. We're not supposed to pray to them, but we do. All the Catholics I knew prayed to saints and to Mary and stuff. So
yeah,
a goddess and multiple gods. Yeah, it's not that big of a stretch. Chanting, incense, very similar.
Yes.
Outwardly, at least.
People like that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
people like lots of entertaining things. If you're thinking about all those gods and goddesses, you're not thinking about how you're going to get more money or all the other stuff, or how you're going to get back at somebody else, and all the things that your monkey mind is just so bent on doing.
well, I think we all need something to anchor us. And I was raised Presbyterian, and I knew, like I knew I was a Democrat, I knew I was of a different feather. And I basically believe in a lot of what indigenous peoples believe. I worked on Indian reservation one summer, and I just think we all see it differently, and I think it all has value. And my brother's much more rigid than I am, because he's truly, even though he says he's Christian Hindu, he's Hindu.
Really?
And I think
But he grew up in a Christian country. We don't realize how Christian we are.
Yeah, you're
Like
right.
he probably believes that people are equal, and that's not necessarily Hindu. They are on a hierarchy there, and he believes in the whole world, take care of the whole world and care about the whole world. That isn't necessarily their thing. They're more into their families. That isn't the religion, but that's the culture.
Well,
So
he
he's
he used to try to justify the caste system to me, because that was one of our big discussions. And I think I've informed him of a lot of things that he didn't know about, like the Hindu women or women in India of a certain class, when their husband dies, his death is blamed on her, and they are left to wander. And now there are places where they, and I said, Chris, that's part of the caste system. And he said, well, it's not the way it's supposed to be. And I said, well, I think it goes back for centuries. And yeah, you're right. I think there's good and bad in all of them. Not bad.
Unpleasant.
What?
They're unpleasant.
Our stuff is unpleasant to them and
Yeah.
weird and like heartless and everything. And theirs is like that to us.
Well, and I had a wonderful experience in India with my brother. I asked him when I went to show me everything that made him fall in love with the spiritual aspects of India. And I said, I don't even know what to. And so we fed cows, and we blessed them. And I walked through manure and laughed, and we had a really good time. he had a friend, Deepak, who invited us to his house during Deepavali, and they accepted me into their family. And he gave me a gift, and then he began to call me Shri Susan. And I don't know, there's many wonderful things about India. I mean, just
Yeah, they're really good hosts. It's not that that they're mean to everybody outside their family. They really are good hosts to individual visitors.
Wonderful host. Yeah, I agree with that. Hi, Trish.
Hi, Susan.
Hi,
How are you?
Mwah. I'm good.
Hello, Kent.
How you guys?
So good to see you.
Hi, Kent.
I don't see Ken.
Mirth is like an Indian name.
Mirtha?
M-U-R-T-H. It
It's
could be.
also
I
Irish.
was going to tell you, it's one of the first 5 Irish tribes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's why she's nicknamed
Interesting, very
McTrishy.
interesting.
All right, there's some.
That's why she's called McTrishy.
McTrishy.
Let's see it.
Hey, Doug, you're muted.
A lot of people are muted. Arthur, you're
There's
muted
Bill.
too.
Because every time you move, you have to unmute again.
Yeah,
Unmute again.
there we go.
Hi, ma'am.
And
Hi,
Kent, you're
Min.
muted.
Hey, I'd like to mention to everybody that I'm paring down my book, my personal library, and I have quite a few books about Buddhism. If people are interested, you can contact me and I'll tell you what I got.
Were you into Buddhism for quite a while?
I am at the moment, but I'm not reading all these books.
Francie, how about
What?
can we put it in the library at the church?
Well, that's what I suggested to Laurel, and she said there's no room.
Oh.
And
Oh, come on.
I think we have room on the top shelves. I mean, at the top.
We
at
can
the
make.
top.
Or
With cushions.
you could sell them at the auction.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
want you to keep them so when I go there, I could get them.
I think if we had bookends.
Well,
I'd put them on
I
the
was
very top.
thinking we could have a little, when we can meet in person again, we could have a little.
You'd have a
used
book swap.
We could
Yeah,
have
Yeah, book exchange. Just a book
Yeah.
exchange.
or even a little book sale, used book sale, have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do all of that.
All
Yeah,
of
I
that
have a
is
whole bunch
all-
of, I have a lot of pictures that I took for photo clubs, and if you have that, I'll just make them available. I'm sure, well over 200.
Wow.
And they're just
Peter,
not-
I love you. Peter, I love your work.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
your photos are amazing.
They're great. Hi, Peter.
Hi.
Doug, I'm just going to tell you, you keep talking about the top shelf. I do not like top shelves. So,
Was the
Little
floor better?
McTrishy. We're going to call her Little McTrishy.
Yeah. Trish, is the
hiding
floor
here.
better?
the way I get things on my top shelf in the kitchen sometimes is with a butcher knife. I stab the box. Highly effective, maybe cathartic too. I don't know.
Very dangerous, I might add.
Yeah, I've got it down.
You'd have to reach to become a Zen Buddhist.
That's right. That's right. It's when I get my morning stretch. Reach up there.
Is there anybody in the box?
I can think of a few people I wish were, but
Oh,
I have a question about appropriateness for something. Okay. I've been sick for a long, everybody knows I've been sick forever. And this thing, it's carpal tunnel. It's coming off on Wednesday, which I'm really happy about. But I've tried to be a home-based baker for the last 2 years. And what I'm trying to do, since this is coming off, that I'd like to sell things for Easter. Is there any way that I could put something out like during a sermon or something that you can get to my website? Is that appropriate, or do we not do that?
Distract people from the sermon. Is that your idea?
Well, I didn't get anything into the newsletter.
Why
Well,
don't you?
I have a couple people that have said to me, I make this, how do I let people in the congregation know? And I just think a little classified thing, maybe in the newsletter.
But it's gone. And Easter's April 4th.
How about the Wednesday news blast? Ask ask Margot if it would be appropriate to put that in the news blast.
What Wednesday
I think it
news
has to be
blast?
something comes
It's
from
an
the board.
email I think it's every Wednesday or.
Yeah, it is every Wednesday. Yeah.
I don't get that.
Huh, that's odd.
And I didn't get my pledge packet either. So I'm wondering
Okay.
whether or not I'm out of the
Oh,
loop
here's Laurel.
totally.
Maybe she could
Yeah,
enlighten us on
Well,
this.
I don't know. We're starting a class in a minute. So
Oh.
Julie is in the class, so we
you
need
wanna-
to. Yeah, we have our starting point class. to
Okay,
start
all right.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
in 3 minutes.
Bye, Suya.
Bye.
Anyway,
Bye.
right to Margot.
Bye,
Earl.
Francie. I'll do that, Francie.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye, Kent.
Bye.
So we've got Atulia can stay and we'll
And,
have
You
Alice
know,
joining us.
I believe I'll have to end the meeting for all to begin the
Yeah,
recording
please.
process. So you'll have to jump, I think, join.
Okay, well, if you can end it, because we
Okay.
start at 11:45.
Perfect. I'll do it right now. Okay.
Okay.
See you guys.
Here.